Hey everybody, and welcome to the Christmas Universe Boxing Day special. Happy Boxing Day, everybody. As we are going to now just share my thoughts on the Santa Clauses season two, the second season of the Santa Clauses, which this the Disney Plus exclusive series or Disney Plus original series that has finally concluded its second season this month, and I thought we'll have an opportunity to sort of reflect on the all six episodes that came out for the Christmas season 2023. So make sure to like and subscribe, and there'll be a link in the description to Disney Plus if you want to watch the entirety of the Santa Clauses, and also a link to the Disney Plus Christmas collection, as there's lots of Christmas films you can watch on Disney Plus right now, and as they're all getting festive this month, of course. So we begin the whole story arc, the main story arc for the Santa Clauses 2 was mainly sort of telling the story of the whole Mad Santa campaign, because of course Mad Santa was the main plot of the story, considering the fact that he's being resurrected. I mean, obviously, it tells the story about we got quite a lot of backstory about him, about the fact that he was the Santa from Europe, and he was a Santa that people didn't like, and even the elves rebelled against him to the point where he got turned into a nutcracker during the final days of his reign, when the elves were rebelling against him. Ever since then, they finally found better Santas. Obviously, Tim Allen, Scott Calvin being the latest Santa that everyone loves, and the North Pole obviously coming, and this is obviously him coming off the events of season one, where he made the mistake of retirement, and then he only just came back to the North Pole because he wanted to make his son the new Santa, but his son wasn't really wanting to be the new Santa, because obviously he kind of feared, and he kind of for a little bit lost his girlfriend in the process. And that was the main reason why he tried to avoid doing the whole Santa training, to the point where obviously Mad Santa was resurrected due to obviously the first rule was that the Nutcracker wasn't to return, but O can only be returned if he's encountered by North Pole magic, and when North Pole magic gets near to the Nutcracker, he was resurrected, and from there on, he and his little node, or his so-called node elf, were resurrected, and they were the two who were kind of stood by side by side for in the Nutcracker, and then they've now both resurrected. And obviously, Santa wasn't aware of his presence until the elves found out that the Nutcracker disappeared, so they kind of knew something was up heading in. Throughout the course of the series, they knew that obviously the Nutcracker was sold off, and they were worried about his resurrection. And obviously he's resurrected. He managed to get his Santa magic through the Santa training vest. Obviously Scott's son, Santa's son, was basically sort of left out after he got angry that his girlfriend walked out on him for a bit. And then of course you've also got the storyline with Santa's daughter also dealing with her coping with magic, and the fact that she would get angry and she would lose control of magic when she's basically mad or angry and stuff. But then the wizard was trying to, the witch was trying to control her and trying to tell her to control her emotions through magic, even though it took a bit of time, but she was able to. She obviously had more power than she thought she had, so eventually she would be responsible for turning. Obviously when her brother was turned into a Nutcracker by the Mad Santa, she was able to resurrect him back into a boy, and basically be able to perform the transformation thing because of the ornaments that Mad Santa was looking for, that was still in the North Pole. That in fact was the ornament that Scott Calvin actually drunk from when he first came to the North Pole back in the first Santa Claus movie. So there's a little bit of a sort of Easter egg there, and also there was a bit of an Easter egg to the guy who controls that whole town that he basically decorates for Christmas. He actually met Scott Calvin's Santa when he first basically took on the role of Santa, when he put on the suit and he put the boat on top of the tree. He was actually watching in the foreground, and this is basically a little extra bit of that scene that was not shown in the original Santa Claus movie, which kind of shows that, yeah, he was the boat he dropped off was actually the guy who would end up being the guy he would meet several years later in season 2 of the TV series, which is kind of funny. We're seeing basically some of the some of the boys and girls that Scott Calvin met when they were young, we're now seeing as older people now, which is very, like actual adults now, which is really interesting. So it's interesting. We once again we're seeing kids who have now become adults that are now seeing Scott as adults now, and they've all grown up and everything, which is kind of sort of a theme that keeps coming up during this series, and then also at the same time, obviously Scott was worried about his daughter when she was getting angry about magic and trying to calm her down a bit. And then, of course, when Scott Calvin found out about Mad Santa's resurrection, after his previous head elf had to go into the real world because of a contract that she signed, but then she came back after hearing about the Mad Santa's resurrection. This is what led to her telling him the story about Mad Santa, and to the point where he would find out that his son basically was going to try and get his Santa training vest that ended up being with Mad Santa, even though Mad Santa turned him into an nutcracker in the process. And the fact that because he was getting his magic and he stole the Santa sleigh that he brought with him to the town, and then he eventually reached the North Pole, which obviously Santa and Mrs. Claus only found out that he went to the North Pole in the series finale. And of course, that's where Scott Calvin and Mad Santa would have their battle in Santa's office, where they were trying to debate on him when he was trying to get his office back. But then we found out he had more human than he had some human features to him. So you could tell that there was some regret in some of the decisions he was making, and he started to come to terms with the stuff he did. Finally, Scott tried to sort of reason with him to say, look, you need to see all the bad things you've done, and you need to start accepting that you're a bad person, that you did bad things, and then he starts to try to sort of slowly but surely change because of the stuff that he did, and obviously he helped the guy in the town by being a performer, which was obviously something we see at the very end. And then we also have obviously the current head elf, obviously his girlfriend / wife, where they're now finally having their honeymoon, which is something that they promised for many years, and only now that they've been able to do that in New York City after he chose to go with Betty to the real world. And obviously this might declare that we might see a new head elf potentially into the next Christmas, if that's indeed what the circumstances of that is going to be. And then we've got obviously Santa and the family seeing the concert in Snowdonia, of course, which is where the concert takes place, and then they realize that they had to head somewhere, to the point where they decide to just go out for a stroll across New York City and all the way back home, because they wanted to celebrate Christmas, of course, because and this was this all took place 7 months later since the events of Mad Santa's invasion of the North Pole, of course. And then we found out that the elf that he brought with him to the North Pole actually does have a bit of magic, and he was able to build stuff with thorns, and the fact that she kind of had a little bit of sort of had this sort of desire to want to build stuff like Betty as an elf, and obviously she decides to part ways with Mad Santa in the process, which finally leads her to finally doing things without Mad Santa now, because obviously she's now doesn't have to worry about Mad Santa, because she realizes Mad Santa was making her more toxic than good, and she finally decided to come clean with it. And then we also get to see Cal finally reunite with his girlfriend finally, and he kind of accepted to Cal that he needs to experience the real world more, and do college and stuff more, and where Santa be Santa, of course. So that's pretty much how they ended things really for season 2. And it kind of, now of course we don't know what the future holds for Santa Clauses, whether there's going to be a season 3, we don't know. There hasn't been any updates as far as we know, so who knows whether there's going to be a season 3 in 2024. I mean, the ending kind of makes it sound like there might not be, but you never know. They might surprise us with one. But yeah, I'm starting to think that 2 seasons were the original plan for the Santa Clauses, and then after that, they basically just gonna just focus on new stuff for Disney for Christmas going forward, which is understandable because they would want to focus on newer things, so then the Santa Clauses can just be a so they can finally focus on streaming the movies on Disney Plus for those who want to watch the Santa Clauses over Christmas, and sort of make new Disney Plus movies for Christmas going forward. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for the Santa Clauses, whether we'll see it next Christmas or not remains. It's totally up in the air at this point because Tim Allen doesn't really know what the future holds for the show yet, so he's kind of still deciding where it should end up. But nevertheless, I'm still waiting for them to release it on DVD. I hope they will, because I think we definitely deserve some sort of a Disney's The Santa Claus DVD and Blu-ray release at some point, and I hope we do get one. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys make of Disney's The Santa Claus this season 2. And I will catch you guys in the I'll catch you guys in the next one, where on New Year's Eve, where we're going to be reviewing the Top of the Pops Christmas special from 2020. That will close out our Christmas Universe coverage for 2023. So again, a very happy Boxing Day to you all, and I hope you all had a great Christmas day and enjoy the rest of your Christmas holidays. And we'll see you back here New Year's Eve for a new New Year's special, which will close out the Christmas Universe 2023. So see you then.